Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Danny and Stan's Football Weekend. Well, 4 years and 3 months after the last one, it's time for another big parade in Kansas City, and this time it'll be for the Kansas City Chiefs after a 50-year wait to be the Super Bowl champions. For a long, long time on Sunday night, it didn't look like that would be the case, that this would be just another step along the way, make the AFC Championship game last year, make the Super Bowl this year, and then shake off the disappointment and the lack of production and really the first bad game in our recent memory by Patrick Mahomes and come back and go get him next year. But in the end, as 9 o'clock was rolling around, the Kansas City Chiefs would be champions after an exhilarating thrill ride down the stretch. Everything going the Chiefs' way, everything the Chiefs were creating themselves, making it go their way. And in the end, one of the most unlikely and misleading score lines that you'd ever see in a Super Bowl, Chiefs 31 and 49ers 20, is the result. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. That surely didn't look like it was going to be the case for a long, long time. I wrote about this morning in a blog and covered the game and got all of my thoughts, but now it's time to get more analytical and dive into the football X's and O's through the eyes of Stan Weber, and that's always great. I'm sure he watched it with some real football aficionados and probably some real Chiefs fans who were mighty disappointed for a long, long time. I saw my Twitter feed. I'm sure today everybody's going to say that they believed, but I think a lot of them would be going Geico Pinocchio if the truth were to be told about how they really were reacting as the game went down. It all ended up the right way, however, as in a three-game playoff ride. The Chiefs did it the hard way, and they are the 2020 Super Bowl champions. We'll talk about it next on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend, coming right up. We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, you know, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Stan, amazing times in Kansas City. You work downtown. I assume the parade route's going to be about the same. I don't know exactly where the parade went last time for the Royals. I wasn't in town. I know where it ended up, and I assume it's going to be somewhat similar. But downtown's going to be a crazy place to be, I'm sure, on Wednesday, and I'm sure a lot of businesses will let their people out of work, or people just won't show up for work. So 4 years and 3 months after one parade, the Chiefs get another, in each case snapping a long victory drought, and then 30 years for the Kansas City Royals, now 50 years for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to start out with how you took in the Super Bowl and what the atmosphere was like at your Super Bowl gathering?
Tempted to get someplace where the Chiefs fans could really show their emotion and get involved in all of that, Danny, but I couldn't do it. I had to go back to my core thought process, and that's I love the Super Bowl so much. I want to watch it so closely, take in every aspect of it that I can, and so I ended up at home. My wife this time, my daughter came over with our two granddaughters who are very young and know nothing about what's going on as far as what we're doing. So very quiet, easy to watch. I have two big TVs, and I found this, at the national championship games the first time I did this, and it worked well at the Super Bowl. I brought in the game twice with only one volume, and the other one about 2 to 3 seconds behind. And therefore, after every play, if Tyrann Mathieu came blitzing off the edge and making a tackle at the line of scrimmage, once I realized that that's how the play ended, then I could look up at the other TV with purpose and quickly, before they even got to the replay on my main volume TV, go, let me look where he came from. How did he navigate his way through? What coverage were they in? If a pass is caught downfield, most of them are about 10 yards downfield, I don't watch the receivers. I'm watching the line, the quarterback. But after the plays run, I really like this methodology where I go, okay, I want to watch the receiver. I isolate him, myself. So that's what I did. Just totally locked in, listening to the announcers and everything else. And therefore, I think, I could, I'm the guy who watches all the preseason games, Danny. You make fun of me for that. Yes, I'm the guy who watches all the college bowl games, either on tape or live, all of them. But this is an example where I had 3 TVs rolling constantly since mid-morning on Sunday to watch all the pregame shows. I still probably missed some stuff. I mean, I watched everything on ESPN, everything on Fox, and everything on NFL Network, and local coverage as much as I could. But I could hardly get up, so I watched hours and hours and hours of pregame and postgame. So it was just me maneuvering which volume I wanted on and those kind of things. And so I took in Chiefs football from mid-morning until midnight, locked in. Very boring. I heard the fireworks going off in my neighborhood. I watched the television to know what's going on at the Power and Light, but pretty much just locked in at my house and did not get to take advantage of all those people who were going, hey, it's 60 degrees out here, let's go do whatever, golf. But it was tempting, Danny. I wanted to say, I should go to somebody's party. I know I would only stay until 4 or 4:30, but I thought, how much fun would it be from noon to 4:30? But the pregame shows were too good. They were too valuable to me. I was going, I want to watch every second of this. How about this? The Chiefs are an international subject. Everybody cares about football at this point. This is the Super Bowl, and here we are talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. So I couldn't leave. Couldn't leave all the media coverage I was getting.
Blair Kirchhoff wrote an article early in the week, and he talked about some various numbers with the Super Bowl. And one of them was that over 130 million, I think that was the figure. No, over 100 million of the 333 million Americans will watch the Super Bowl. And what was fascinating to me was not the number of 100 million. It was that 233 million Americans don't watch the Super Bowl. In our little world, that seems almost impossible. More than 2/3 of the people, in some regards, it was like almost they were lying, between all the parties and everything else. But I guess that shows that even as all-encompassing as it seems to us, it still isn't everything.
Right. We live in a certain aspect of the world that would listen to your podcast. And usually they are sports fans. And Kansas City is a great sports fan area, Danny. I mean, the numbers are usually big. If it's the NCAA tournament, if it's the World Series, and if definitely the NFL playoffs, even if the Chiefs aren't involved, our numbers are pretty strong. Right. Always. So we're kind of a little pocket of the world. Maybe we don't have an ocean or warm weather enough at certain times of year. I don't know, but I think we do live in a little cocoon of sports fans. There's no doubt about it. And when you think about winning the Super Bowl, congratulations to the Chiefs. It's never easy to do it, no matter how good you are. It is a big, big deal, not because we haven't done it in 50 years. I mean, you look at the Niners. They've been one of the most dominant teams ever, and I think they've got 5 Super Bowl wins in their history. I mean, they're trying to get to the 6th to tie for the greatest number in history with the Steelers. and the Patriots, it is not easy to win Super Bowls. It's been 54 of them. Congratulations. But to see it unfold this quickly after the Royals, because there's been a drought around here for a long, long time, to think the Royals finally broke through. Then the Chiefs do it soon after, and they do it in somewhat of a like kind of a sequencing where year number one, why, how cool is this? We are really now to the national stage, and then the Royals don't win the World Series in 14. But, we're going to be mad, Danny. We're coming back. And then all of a sudden, destiny's on our side. There's just no way the Houston Astros are going to beat us. And sure enough, the Royals roll through and win in 15. And that isn't easy. It's more like the Los Angeles Rams last year. They got beat in a close game, and they were new to the scene. And they're going, we're mad. We're coming back next year. Well, they didn't even make the playoffs. Right. So to think that the Chiefs did almost the same thing is pretty amazing, and it was a magical ride. There are so many pieces of it that Patrick Mahomes is laying on the ground, and now he did an interview on Sunday. I watched all of his interviews, and he said he thought he was done for the season. When he looked down, he thought it was bad. He thought it was season ending. He said that, and here he's back playing soon and playing great, and it kind of works as a break that he gets his left ankle healed. Obviously, you got to say Dolphins beating the Patriots, how unlikely that is on the last weekend of the season at New England. That was very helpful in changing the odds. And then the Ravens get beat by the Titans, and that really lays the red carpet out for the Chiefs. And I don't think it ends. When Patrick Mahomes gets strip-sacked and the ball bounces behind him, you are in big trouble. Just stop the tape right there, hit pause, and go, what do you think is going to happen? And usually it's like, 90% chance the 49ers are going to recover that fumble, and they may scoop this thing and score. And all of a sudden, like a golf shot backing up by a PGA pro, the thing bounces forward in front of Patrick, and he's able to jump on it. When he got hit close to the goal line, how many times do you see a player in the NFL get hit and the football fly out that it isn't still on the field where someone can recover it? Nope, not with Patrick Mahomes. Straight out of bounds, no problem. I mean, you got to go for fourth down. You wished he wouldn't have fumbled, but still, it was like a magical ride that overcoming the deficit, double-digit deficits in all three playoff games. It's amazing. A lot of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, enough of the defense, intestinal fortitude, all those things. But to have it somewhat emulate what we experienced with the Royals is just crazy to me. Congratulations, so much fun, and can't wait to see the parade come down here. Danny, I read the document. It said confidential on the top, so I'm not going to tell you all the things. I can tell you that, yes, the parade is going to be on Wednesday, but I know the route. I know all kinds of things about the parade, and I have for about 5 days. But you don't want to jinx them before the game even was played. Right. Confidential. If the Chiefs win, this is what we're going to do. And even today, not all the facts are out yet.
Let's talk about the game itself, and certainly it was, and we always take a break, so I think I'm going to take the break right about when the Chiefs start the miracle. So let's get to the bad stuff. The Chiefs start off better than they did in the other games. They do allow a field goal to start, but they go down the field and get a touchdown, and they get a field goal of their own. That's after the Garoppolo interception, which even though he got hit, I thought was a bad play. He was trying to throw the ball out of bounds, and Patrick Mahomes probably would have got it out of bounds, but he doesn't have that kind of arm strength. But so it almost looked like a win for San Francisco, but still, 10-3, you're feeling good. And if San Francisco had won the football game, the biggest thing that they did was that on the ensuing drive, they played their brand of football. They ran the ball effectively. They used the play action. They just steamrolled the Chiefs down the field, right back into the game, turned the game's momentum. So at that point, the worm had turned. It looked like, oh, boy, San Francisco's found their footing. Let's get to the first talking point that many people had, was the use of the clock at the end of the first half by Kyle Shanahan. I had no problem whatsoever with them not calling a timeout with about 1:30 to go after they made the stop. None. The last thing you want to do, especially in the NFL, we've seen Patrick Mahomes get the ball with 25, 28 seconds to go and score. So that was fine. I think I might have called a timeout after one of the first or second down plays, which they didn't. But still, in the end, if they don't get an offensive pass interference call that probably before this season wouldn't have been called with the point of emphasis, they may have still gotten the field goal.
I'll just write there, no chance it would have ever been called before the 2019 season. No chance. That would never have been called. But it is consistent with how it's been called this
was
year.
proper.
This year is the offensive pass interference is going to be called for the first time. So it would, if that was last year's Super Bowl or any time before, or every catch Michael Irvin made in his career looked like that.
So how did you think? What did you think of the handling of the end of the first half? They knew they were going to have the ball at the start of the second half. They had all the momentum on their side. They were only going from their own 20-yard line. So I was in Kyle Shanahan's camp even before they went out and dominated the third quarter, which made it look even smarter. What did you think?
Well, it's important to think what you're thinking in a moment as well. It's easy to look with 20/20 hindsight and you say, well, the Niners lost the game. Why by more than one score? Why wouldn't you try to score every chance you get? That's one context. But Danny, we have been talking about this consistently. There is a small window that you got to crawl through to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are that good. It's not a formula that, this will beat the Chiefs. I'm saying a formula that can beat the Chiefs, and it is absolutely shorten the game in every possible way. So when the Niners knew that they're in a tie game and they knew that they were getting the football to start the second half, it's no different than a basketball team saying, well, why would we try to run down and score? Let's just make sure we take the last shot. And if it's a bad shot, let's just make sure it's the last shot. So it was a lot of fun. My 29-year-old daughter was there. She's not a know-it-all at all. I mean, anything I'd say to her, only a few points once in a while. But I was able to talk to her like I analyze with you sometimes, and I said, when they let the clock run and they showed John Lynch, the general manager, up going timeout, and Troy Aikman never, ever discussed what they might be thinking. And I thought, I have no problem with this. I mean, you get out of the half and make sure it's tied. Don't even give Patrick Mahomes 15 seconds. You got Butker's a good kicker. It would take the Chiefs' snap of the fingers. And what are the odds of the Niners going down and scoring a touchdown? Hey, in the NFL, you're supposed to say everybody can score from anywhere. Why can't they go 50 yards? This is the NFL. But I said Garoppolo, knowing he's going to drop back and pass, is a formula for variability for the Niners, in my opinion. And he'd already thrown an awful interception. You referenced it. It was a pitiful play. He had panic on his face. His body, it was not a comfortable, oh, darn, I got hit and the ball went a little bit short. He panicked and threw an interception right to the Chiefs. And we spoke about that. That was my number one factor last week on this podcast. How does Garoppolo play? So I had no problem. And I told my daughter, they don't care if they move the ball or if they don't. If they get something going, they may have to settle for a field goal when they could have scored a touchdown. They don't care. If they can go to the half tied 10-10 and feel like they're gaining some traction back from where the Chiefs were and can start imposing their will in the third quarter, good for them. And they know the fewest number of possessions that Patrick Mahomes gets, period, trumps out anything that you think from an offensive mindset. It trumps it all. So I was totally in line with what they're doing and said, you're following the formula. And when the third quarter unfolded, I said, we're going to look back and Shanahan's going to get a lot of credit for something that Aikman didn't even bring up yet about they just totally said, don't let Mahomes have any time on the clock. And then the Chiefs gave him a get-out-of-jail-free card by calling timeout.
Right.
That's when they hit a pass
Right.
that got them going upfield before they hit the Kittle pass. And they could have hit the home run of all home runs, get a field goal, run out all the clock, get the ball to start the second half. Then the formula would have been better. But the Niners had to run a certain formula, and I thought to that point I was totally in line with what they were trying to do and why they were doing it.
So they come out in the third quarter, and that was where Garoppolo and the Niners were at their best. They dominated the quarter. The Chiefs only had one possession. They threw an interception with that possession. The Niners get a touchdown and a field goal. The Niners almost never ran on consecutive plays. But the play-action passes they were throwing were generally safe ones, and Garoppolo was hitting them. So I don't know if I would criticize what they were doing. The offense was efficient. Garoppolo was efficient. Would they have been better served in the end if they had just, run the ball all the times like they did against Green Bay? Yeah, I guess. But you've talked about it before. Spagnuolo is hell-bent on making sure you don't beat him with the run. Even on second and on those play-action plays, they had a lot of guys in the box. So I thought the game plan was great. I thought he called a great game.
you have to throw. I said that the 49ers would throw the ball and that Garoppolo has every capability of hurting the Chiefs throwing the football. So you couldn't just at a certain point of the game go, oh, no, he wasn't going to pass well from this point forward. How did you know that happened? In fact, I think the big play is when Chris Jones got his paw up and knocked down a pass that, I don't know if it had been complete or not, but it was 2nd and 5. The biggest part of the game is the Niners. I mean, if you're a Niners fan, you just want to go stick your head, not only to throw up, but stick it in the water or the toilet. I mean, you're up by 10,
right?
And you have the ball.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes has thrown 2 interceptions in a game. Are you kidding me? That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And now you've got the ball. And it's fourth quarter, and you just got to go win the game. There's just no way you cannot get 2 or 3 first downs.
Did you like what they did game plan-wise up to that point?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, they had to attack the Chiefs a little bit with the wide receiver running game because the Chiefs are ganging up, but I still thought that they ran the ball effectively. When you run the ball effectively, you run for 15 one time and 1 the next. So you can't count on every down gaining 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Otherwise, everyone would run every down. Okay, right. I get that. But still, you still have to look and say, okay, Mostert averaged 4.8 yards a carry, longest run is 17. Coleman averaged 5.6 yards a carry, longest run is 17. And then Samuel averaged 17.7. The Chiefs didn't stuff their running game. They did a play here, a play there, but they still brought so many guys to the line of scrimmage that you had to go play action to beat them. In fact, in this little critical point in the game, Tony Romo pointed out the week before against the Titans, they ran goal line defense, not with goal line people, not a bunch of 300-pounders, right. Okay? But they had 10 guys within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage saying, you're not going to run the ball. I have to credit Spagnuolo. Ever since the Texans game earlier this year where they ran down their throat, he said, you're not running the ball. You are not running the ball. I'll bring as many people as I need to up. And they did. And I said to my daughter, again, very few comments that I make. I go, after that first down run, Troitman said, oh, man, here they go. This is their running game. And I was thinking right along with him, I'm going, the Niners, no chance you ought to pass the ball. If they truly believe in their running game, they ought to bring it. They ought to run the ball and try to get a first down. They got 2 downs to get it. Clock will continue to run. Why would you not run? You're 2 scores ahead, and you have the football. You don't have to keep outscoring the Chiefs at this point. You just need to, and running is imposing your will. When you get in a huddle with your line, you say, this is our time. I don't care if there are 11 Chiefs up there. And I was thinking, I tell you what, they bust the line. They're busting it for a home run. Now, we saw Damian Williams do it for the Chiefs, but I thought the Chiefs were very susceptible. Not that he shouldn't have done this, but if the Niners could have broken up in a hole and gotten 5 yards, they were going to house it. I mean, the Chiefs are all out trying to stop the run. But, again, you can't criticize the play-action pass, but Chris Jones, what an amazing play, knocking it down, putting the pressure on Garoppolo. But then they went back after the Chiefs did score a touchdown, pull within 3, and went through the same exact routine. 5 yards on the first run, and back to the pass. And then I guess you say you have to get down the field and score. But, yeah, if I'm a Niners fan, and Danny, when I was sitting there, I said you got to run on second down. You've got to run on second down.
Which was a turning
point.
They were up by 10.
Up by 10 with the football. Chiefs had just had the ball go off Hill's arm, if I remember right. Yep. I think you got to run on second down and say, we are going to impose our will. We are the 49ers. This is our game. No matter how many people you put up here, we're going to run it down your throat. And if you don't think you can get 5 yards in 2 plays, and in the worst-case scenario is the clock runs for another 70 seconds, 80 seconds, and then your punt team comes out and you run another 40 off. They did that. They stalled that out one time. Remember, the punter stood there. They knew to shorten the game. They had a good strategy, but I can't criticize them for going to Garoppolo. The play-action passing game is part of it. I said Garoppolo's the guy to watch, and Chris Jones knocked the ball down, and he looked completely uncomfortable. The last drive, looked like a joke. Even when I thought they were smart to run the ball a little bit, but they had to huddle up, couldn't decide what they were going to do. Garoppolo just did not look comfortable, did not look scary, and still, he had a chance, but when the game was on Garoppolo's shoulders, he wasn't good enough to do it. That doesn't take anything away from the Chiefs' offense and all the greatness. But
let's stop right
I would have ran. The formula to beat the Chiefs is to run the football. and everyone says you can't run the football. If you're the Niners, you're up by 2 scores, you ran for 5 yards on first down. I can't believe you don't have a play to give it a shot on second down to see what we can do. So I think every time they drop back to pass after that, it was a bonus to the Chiefs to at least give them a chance.
Let's stop right there, and we'll start up our second segment by talking about what the Niners were doing to confuse and harass Patrick Mahomes before the magic came at the end. We'll do that on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend, and part 2 is coming right up.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Are you thinking of starting a new business? Does your current business feel stuck? Or are you just trying to grow what you already have? Running a business is a lot of work, and it takes the right team to make it all happen. If you're looking to grow your business, call my friends Ben and Greg over at Fuego Consulting. They put together a company that can help you reach your business goals. Whether you're looking to get online, build a social media strategy, or rebrand your business, they can help. Call Fuego at 816-663-9695 or visit them online at fuegoconsulting.com. Fuego Consulting. Let's grow your business together.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
Hey guys, it's Brian Haney, voice of the Jayhawks, and Matt Llewellyn from the 23rd Street Brewery. Matt, I've got a bunch of buddies coming over to watch the big game, and I need some ideas on what to cook.
Hey, let me handle it, Brian.
You're going to come over and cook for us?
For you? Maybe. But you should just let 23rd Street Brewery cater it. We could bring a big pan of Bill Self mac and cheese, wings, veggies, naked nachos, and anything else you might want.
Great. Well, you want to stick around and watch the game?
No, I've got to get back to the brewery and watch it on the big screen.
The place to get great catering and watch all the games, the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Back with Stan, 31-20 Chiefs, maybe the most misleading score line in Super Bowl history. If you just saw the score, you would think, oh, Chiefs controlled the game. Hey, it was all good. No, not quite. But they won the game, and that is what's important, and they are celebrating, and the celebration will go on for quite a while. And went off last. I watched the game just with my wife, and she's really into it when it gets to be these point in time. I'm just analytical. I just sit there and and she'll ask me questions, but I got the fan sense. I don't feel the mojo. They're done. There was stuff like that flying around. So I think I got the sense of what.
That's when the ESPN numbers showed probability of winning the game was down to 4% at one point for the Chiefs.
Well, this year, when somebody has led by 10 points with under 7 minutes to go, which is what was the case, Chiefs scored with 6-something to go. There were 65 games like that. The team that was ahead was 64-1 on the season. But the Chiefs became the second team to come back and do it. The big part of the reason that San Francisco was in it was, sure, efficient play by Jimmy Garoppolo, flash running, a great wide receiver running early on creative plays, certainly. But the biggest part was that the San Francisco front four was creating real mayhem up front. Mahomes was hit 8 times, sacked 4 times in the game, looked rattled. The 2 worst games he had this year were both against the Chargers. The Chargers play cover 3. The Niners play cover 3. Explain cover 3 and why it gives Patrick Mahomes problems, because that's about the only thing that's ever given him any problems.
And problems is all relative. It's
right. This game he was being given problems.
First of all, I want to say this before I forget, because even a national pregame show said, well, the thing with Andy Reid is clock management. That's his one weakness. So we won't get into that debate, except for I do want to point out that I thought one of the keys to the Chiefs' comeback was the clock management of being in a hurry, in a big hurry, with whatever that drive started with. Was it 10 minutes left in that was brilliant.
Mahomes went out
so many teams, ran back to put the ball down because the clock starts quickly. Until you get to the 5-minute mark, the clock starts very quickly on out-of-bounds plays. Only incomplete passes truly stop the clock in the NFL until the last 5 minutes of the game. That was brilliant. A lot of teams would have come out, huddled, said we're not in a hurry yet. We'll talk about that later on the next possession. I thought that was brilliant to change the dynamics of the whole game. We've seen it our whole life. The 2-minute drill is different than regular football when that offense just says we have nothing to lose because it's already been lost. It's weird, Danny. It's so weird. It's so it just opens your mind to confidence, and you play the odds out and you say, well, what do we have to lose? Let's go. And you start playing with confidence because really your chances are so minimal. It helps you. But I just thought that was brilliant. The Chiefs came out and pressed things, even though they hadn't had a lot of success in the third quarter. They just threw an interception on the previous drive, and here they were in a vast hurry. And I think they changed the dynamics and started gaining some confidence.
Still, they were left on that drive with 3rd and 15
because of some pressure.
Yeah, and a penalty, I believe. There was.
And Patrick Mahomes running, we may not get to this, but his running was brilliant. One time Bosa should have sacked him. He didn't. I think he threw a first down throw to Kelsey right over the middle. Maybe on that possession we're talking about. He ran a few times out of trouble. He could have got sacked for 8 or 10. He got sacked for only 1. He got sacked on a previous play and then ran for like 15 to make it 3rd and reasonable. He did so many. He did so many things like that.
He was trying to win.
Near the goal line.
He's saying, "Hey, nobody else is doing anything. I got to win the game."
He ran for a first down early, right at the marker. He ran near the goal line. He gained on the first play on the winning touchdown drive. They gained a few yards when he ran the football on the bootleg, didn't throw it away, said, let me run for some positive yards. Did an amazing job. But what's interesting is the Niners do play the cover 3. Each the middle safety takes the middle of the field. Each of the corners take the outside thirds, and you go deep and make sure no one beats you. What it is supposed to do is take away all the deep cuts that cross from one side of the field to the other. If you only have 2 safeties back there, there are 3 gaps, to the outside deep and then the middle deep. Okay, so that's why a lot of times people run 4 verticals, it's called. 4 receivers, Danny, run almost straight up the field, attacking 2 toward the middle and 2 to the outside along the sideline. And when there's only 2 safeties back there who've got to cover from basically probably about 18 yards to 45 yards downfield, it's all their responsibility. It really makes it hard for that coverage to get to the Tyreek Hills, who can maneuver in and then bust out. And there's so much green grass and open area. And there's not supposed to be in thirds, because if he moves to the middle, he runs into the free safety. If he cuts back out, the free safety goes, I can't cover you, but I don't have to because my buddy's waiting for you over on that side of the third. So they put a great umbrella over the field, and a 3-man umbrella is a lot bigger than 2. I mean, it's just so easy to get the numbers in your head, Danny. If you got 3 people deep, the Niners gave up less throws of 20 yards or more than anybody in the NFL. So they put a lot of pressure on their linebackers.
Let me ask you this. The cover 3 seems also, however, to be predicated by the fact that you need to have a very good 4-man pass rush, which the Chargers do with another Bosa, and the Niners do, and they were. And now, did you agree with Troy Aikman eventually, when it looked like the Chiefs were doomed, in fact, was saying, hey, the Chiefs keep settling for the shorter stuff. They're trying the shorter stuff. You know, at some point, you've just got to, have a man beat a man. And in the end, that's what they did. But did you think they were guilty of giving too much respect to this cover 3 defense? Because Andy Reid even said, coming out at halftime, he said, they're taking away the deep stuff. We can't go deep. Well, sometimes if you get Patrick Mahomes, you just got to try it, don't you? Or do you think that that Niners were just executing it too well?
Well, I think Patrick wasn't on his game exactly. I think there were a few throws that I could show you that came out of his hand differently, right. Which rarely does he miss his target anywhere, 20 yards downfield. Here's an example. He gets flushed a little bit to his left. He's not under extreme pressure, and he says, I'm going to throw the ball away, and he threw it right to a Niner. Now, again, good fortune. If I would have done that in college, that guy would have snagged that ball. How much above his head was it? I mean, Patrick was just throwing the ball out of bounds.
Right.
Not to a receiver. You remember the play?
Yeah.
And a Niner linebacker what? Here's the ball. It bounced off his hands. That does not happen with Patrick Mahomes. There were a couple of balls that were low and not necessarily close. So I just think Patrick was a little bit off in the game. I don't think it was strategic. a strategic problem. In fact, I want to go back to a big play in the game, and I have not heard enough conclusive evidence to be able to say if this is true or not, but it was the play of the game. It's 3rd and 15.
Right.
The Chiefs' chances of winning are 4%, and Tyreek Hill gets the ball on what ends up being a 45-degree angle corner route, you call it, against cover 2 with that safety. As he's running away from him, that area is always open with a good throw to the sideline. But against cover 3, I just spoke about how he should run right into coverage. Let's talk about what happened. It was stated on an analysis that I saw that the 49ers were in cover 3. I don't know if that's true. Just because they run cover 3 sometimes does not mean they're in cover 3 this time, Danny.
Right.
So I think it's totally unfair for any of us to say, "Oh, that's absolute." But you mentioned it. That's a core coverage for them. And the way it was described on ESPN, they said it was cover 3. Now, everyone knows how Tyreek Hill ran it into the middle of the field and then planted and cut to the outside. That takes forever to run that route. It's not a legitimate route in the NFL. A post corner is. That means you cut toward the post for 45 degrees for 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. You plan on your third, and you hit a 45-degree angle. A lot of players can run a post flag. That's a normal route. You had to tell your line, give me a little bit more time, but it's a legitimate route. That was not a 3-stepper. He turned and started zipping toward the post like he was running to sprint and pressure the safety.
He ran like a 40-yard square out.
And then he cut to the outside. So it takes longer. But what happened on the play is it was described during the game as if the safety got beat. It was described later in an analysis the exact opposite. So let's talk about the exact opposite for just a second. When he pressured the middle safety, if it is cover 3, remember what I told you, if Tyreek Hill says, "I'm leaving you and going to the outside," he should have a deep corner over there just saying, "I got Tyreek now." That might have been what's happened. That's probably what happened, and that's what ESPN was guessing happened. The corner on the right side came upfield as Sammy Watkins ran a dig route at square in. Mm-hmm. When he came on square in, that guy attacked and stopped retreating. The reason why he stopped retreating is because when he read the routes, he said that he saw Tyreek Hill go on a post. So he said, he's gone. He's not going to come to my area. So when he reversed and went back behind him, first of all, only Tyreek Hill in the NFL could run that route that has that much speed to get that far down. So that safety, 99 out of 100 times, did nothing wrong. But by design, by coverage, he should have had Tyreek Hill deep.
Should have had corner.
The safety didn't do anything wrong. The corner got thrown over, and if you said, well, if he would have let Sammy Watkins cut in, they would have had an easy first down. No, the linebacker was waiting for him. Go watch the replay. You'll see it 100 times, Danny. The linebacker had him. As he's running a square in, he's covered because 10 yards out in front of him is a linebacker turning to say, "I got you. Just throw the ball in here, and I'll either intercept it or kill you." That corner biting and leaving his cover 3 responsibility is actually what got him. Now, is it because they called the play? Or is it because Patrick Mahomes was reading it and said, that corner is biting, I'm throwing it over him? I don't think that the Chiefs could have forced their will any time in the game, just any time. They had to wait and wait and wait, and finally the Niners made a mistake, and he took advantage of it, throwing over the top.
The other aspect of this particular play is the fact that there might not have been more than a handful, maybe less, of quarterbacks who could have done what Patrick Mahomes did on that play, which is retreat and to buy extra time, which they needed because it's a route, as you say, that takes a ridiculous amount of time to. And he ended up throwing the ball 9 yards back of the line of scrimmage, a 9-yard drop. Bosa was coming. He was close. And
Bosa took an inside rush.
Mahomes still had the arm strength to throw it 55 yards in the air because he was 9 yards back. It was a 44-yard gain. Not many people could do that.
No, not at all. He dropped it in. And his
they
maneuver
punt there, the game's over. In fact, they may have thought about going for 4th and 15.
They probably would have had to go for 4th and 15.
Punted maybe, but 6.
I don't think so.
Ago,
I think they would have went for it because there's a bad area of the field. But anyway, the read off Bosa is amazing. Okay, he drops back, and Bosa takes an inside cut on Fisher. And the ESPN analyst, I'm not saying I'm not trying to opine on this. The inside analyst said he held him. I mean, he reached out with his right arm and just put it out in front.
No holding penalties in the entire game for either team.
So, but he's going like, look, he's holding him right here. Well, anyway, I'm not into that. I'm just saying he took an inside cut, and your left tackle is scrambling right now because Bosa But Bosa left the left side of the field, Chiefs' perspective, open. And how about how Patrick just said, I got you, Fisher. I'm not going to stand here like an idiot quarterback and take a sack, hold or not. I'm just going to maneuver over here to the left a little bit. So actually you're in a good position to push him on by. I mean, it's crazy how Patrick Mahomes is reading things back there subtly with the offensive line stuff, downfield. But I think Andy Reid deserves a ton of credit to say we got to change things up right now at the 10-minute mark. I'm going to call it the 10-minute mark. That may not be exact. And we are going no huddle attack. Maybe we can get them tired. Maybe we can get them into the same call 2 plays in a row because they can't change defense. Something's going to change, and we're so good, we'll find a way. And sure enough, for that point forward, 3 touchdown drives. When they got in a hurry, everything started changing. The confidence level got boosted by the Chiefs. And then Damian Williams, who really had a big chance to be the MVP of the game with what he did a fantastic job catching passes. The third down pass at the goal line, I mean, if they don't score, I'm not talking about reach out the ball. If it just ends up being an incomplete pass, they kick a field goal. We got 2 minutes left in the game. Niners have the football. I'm not confident that they're going to easily be able to take the ball down the field. We're sitting there with a tie game,
right,
and the nation's on the edge of their seat. Forget Chiefs fans. I'm just saying everybody else is going, oh, my gosh, this is the most unbelievable Super Bowl. What's going to happen next? Who's going to win this thing? All those things come into play. But when you look at the overall playoffs, the Chiefs scored touchdowns in the red zone, which is something they didn't do as well during the regular season. Maybe as much as Patrick Mahomes' maneuverability being at a higher rate because you saw him run option plays, a lot of rollouts, scrambles. Maybe that was the difference, but the Chiefs kept scoring touchdowns in the red zone. And something that we said here, Danny, maybe the most intriguing thing that we said getting ready for this game last week, or maybe the week before, was Andy Reid has a decision to make. It was I don't know which week it was. Andy Reid has a decision because he proved that the Chiefs can run the ball against the Titans, and you can run the ball against the 49ers. It was with you I said that, Danny, and I don't think anybody cares about the Chiefs in the running game, but I said the 49ers pass defense is good, the pass rush can cause havoc, and guess what? You have a way of hurting the 49ers. I don't know how many people are talking about it, but you can run, and Andy has a choice if he wants to run, and I think that he did. I mean, Damian Williams was over 100 yards. The 49ers' run defense ended up being a big weakness that hurt them when you add up all the points for the night.
And what's your thank goodness. The mic was flipped over. Let me make sure. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh, I'm breathing a sigh of release.
Yeah.
But the button's usually right here, and it's somewhere else, and it could have gotten tripped. In the end, it turns into just abject hysteria. There's nothing really better than, I think, I wrote this today. I wrote a blog earlier today, and you can look that up at DannyKlinkscale.com. There's people all over Kansas City today who are saying that they believed. And I'm telling you what, 80% of you are lying. When he threw that interception with 10 minutes to go and the Niners have the ball, they were in big trouble. I don't care who you have. They just may not have had the ability to get the ball twice. But when you come from that position and win, that's glorious. I mean, the whole playoffs were like that. The Chiefs didn't play their best football in any way. They win all 3 games. There was drama in the first 2, but not quite as much because they came back so fast and they were in a comfortable position. This against a truly fine opponent, well coached, good game plan, good defensive design, and you're deep in the fourth quarter and you're losing and you win. That's the best feeling for any group of fans.
It's so good. Just use this as an example. If we had a movie writer write us a movie that we're going to watch, we would not accept that they did this the 3rd straight game in a row. If you watch the first one, the team's still alive, and we know the star of the show is Patrick Mahomes. He's the most famous actor. We know he's going to win, but come on, don't act like they're going to be behind in the fourth quarter also. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The back to the wall. Finally, Patrick Mahomes even made a couple errors. He did, however you define it, fumble twice, and he did throw 2 interceptions. So that is about as bad as you could get, maybe times 2 or 3 from what he saw before. And the Niners can run. They had the football. They finally got an interception on a drive you thought the Chiefs were going down the field. Again, I told my daughter when the Chiefs got the football down by 10 in the fourth quarter, I said, the Niners, if they're going to win, they're not going to win the game on defense. You can't count on stopping the Chiefs. I go, let's just assume they drive down the field right now and score a touchdown. Really, it's going to be game on the Niners offense. When they get the ball back up by 3, they better go take care of business. They better go score a touchdown. If they only go score a field goal, they're going to lose. It's this drive doesn't even hardly matter because I'm telling you, if the Niners are going to win, they're going to do it with their offense. That's how you dictate and beat the Chiefs. And then a couple of minutes get burned off, and Tyreek Hill has the ball bounce off his hand, and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, they got a whole touchdown. Under my formula, I just told her I was counting on the Chiefs scoring a touchdown, right. And I still was wondering, these Niners are a little different than what I thought the Titans were. And I go, this is going to be intriguing. I know the Chiefs can score some more, but will the Niners go down and get a touchdown drive? Will they run, throw some play-action pass? But when they got this ball and still had a 10-point lead, then you're starting, for a split second I go, wow, the Chiefs aren't going to win the Super Bowl. There was a commercial break, okay, mm-hmm. And I go, wow, the Chiefs aren't going to win. They have just given up the football. Look at the clock and look at who they're playing. These guys are going to pound the ball at them. I mean, they're going to run 3 times, and I bet they get a first down. Here we go, and yet we are dancing with a victory, and then cleared with Damian Williams running out not only the clock but taking it to the house. Just amazing. It's awesome. And to see the attitude, you might have been accurate, Danny, in saying that people didn't believe at that point, but I will verify in my belief that way too many people believed before the game started. When the parties were rolling on Sunday, back Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, everyone acted like, hey, this is the Royals in 15. Everything's going to go right. And we got Patrick Mahomes, and we got Andy Reid. The whole nation's rooting for us. There's no way we're going to lose. And I felt bad being the guy going, oh, this is the hardest game left. You played horse and had to prove it, and now you got to prove it again because these are the best guys you have to beat, way better than the Titans and the Texans and the Chargers and the Patriots were. I mean, you got to prove it. It's a 50-50 deal. And they have a formula to beat you, a pass rush, a pass defense, and, oh, by the way, a good running game. So I felt so bad because last Friday when I was on Between the Lines, my pulse was everyone said the Chiefs are going to win. And I now say, you were right. You were right. Why was I nervous? I mean, even down 10 and the Niners have the ball, the Chiefs win. And so if you told me everybody believed, 90% of the people out there said, I knew we had this, I'll agree with that on Sunday morning. I might be with you, though, when at some point there did they show the Power and Light at that point? I don't know, on national TV. I'm going to have to ask Nate Bukaty. He was down there. Was there any doubt at that point where the throng of Chiefs fans?
There was doubt. There was plenty. Fred, I think that people were ready to, call for blood. I think there was going to be some Andy Reid blowback. I do. I was starting to see it on Twitter. But in the end, it's just a big party, and the party goes on. And one thing I'll say in closing for me, I think I want to call a 1-month moratorium on talking about the future and the dynasty and everything else. I want the fans to just – you mentioned it before. The best franchises in Super Bowl history have 6, okay? 6 of them. We're going to play – that was just the 54th. They're hard to win. 2 or 3, making it to 2 Super Bowls, which the Chiefs have now, is a different category for a team. So
winning 2 separates you from a lot of teams.
Right. So just enjoy it.
And you got Patrick Mahomes. You're going to be the favorite going into next season. I think the Niners have a good organization. I don't think they're like the Rams. I don't think they're going away. But the Chiefs are the favorite. And I'll say it, Danny, even with the big salary cap hit and everything that Patrick Mahomes is going to have, I truly believe Patrick Mahomes, I heard his comments today. I think if you listen closely and look through every word he said, I think he gave a great hint that he's going to do like Tom Brady and not maximize his money so that he saves some money in the salary cap. And you can do that with bonus money, redoing your bonus money. There's a lot of little tricks, okay? But I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to suck every dollar out that he could from the Chiefs and take away the chances of making the team around him at least better. Sure, his salary cap number is going to be big, but Tom Brady has done this like a science. You get a lot of cash up front. He's not losing, okay? He gets a ton of cash up front under this philosophy. I won't go through all the salary cap, how it works. But the fact is Tom Brady always wanted the Patriots to have other weapons to try to win. And Patrick Mahomes basically said that. If you heard what he said this morning at the NFL press conference, I think he's going to be the best guy to work with. I think he understands that. I'm telling you, Danny, the start of the next 5 seasons, the Chiefs are going to be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. The next 5. Because like Garoppolo, he has trouble staying healthy and all those things. I think the Chiefs have an organization, a great coach. Other than Belichick, you got the best coach in the NFL. All the stigma of questions or thoughts in his mind or any others, can we get it done? Patrick Mahomes now. Danny, my mindset about Patrick Mahomes changes completely. When he won the championship game, I said on 8-10, the floodgates will open. We'll go from wondering why we always lost first-round games as the first seed, craziness happening last year, never touching the ball in overtime, all this bad luck junk that surrounds the Chiefs, okay? If they get to the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, the floodgates open. We're the new Patriots. The Chiefs are the team to go after. The confidence level is going to be so high. And I think about this, Danny. We can talk all we want about Dee Ford lining up all sides, but if Dee Ford would not have lined up off sides, Patrick Mahomes would have made 2 Super Bowls out of 2 tries. We can talk about how the odds and the Dan Marinos, but I'm telling you, he basically earned 2 Super Bowls and 1 championship at least, because who knows what they would have done last year. I think they would have beat the Rams, but who knows. That is unbelievable. I said he is playing right now at the level of being the greatest quarterback, greatest player in NFL history, because he hasn't shown us a downside yet. He hasn't had the down games.
When he did, it was yesterday,
and
he shook it off.
Shook it off and went out and won the Super Bowl. So just think about Danny. 2 years he's made it to the Super Bowl. How are they not? He's 24 years old. He's smart. He knows how to do everything right. He is not going to burn the salary cap as badly as he could to try to keep the guys around. And they have weapons. And Andy Reid, he doesn't need a ton of weapons. This is great that they got this fast team. But Andy Reid can win with half as many of the weapons that they have. He can plug and play. You know, if Kelsey's gone and you have an average tight end, they'll still move the ball. If the defense plays well, Andy Reid has always, in his whole career, found ways, no matter who the quarterback was, to move the ball and score points. So you're right. Celebrate, 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 celebrate. Talk about football. And I love baseball. I mean, I love sports maybe as much as anybody in the world, but Nate Buchetti the other day on the morning goes, as he introduces me to the show, this is the guy that loves football more than anybody in the world. And I said, most of the time people have to defer those kind of comments and say, don't be ridiculous. But I said, I agree. No one loves football more than me. And the reason why I say that, Danny, is because when the Royals won, the outpouring of love in the community, people who didn't care about sports jumping on the bandwagon, that was so much fun that they were coming into our world. They might even listen to this podcast. You know, who knows? Sports fans didn't know how much fun it was. It was so great to introduce them to our world, and they didn't need to stay here. They weren't worse people if they aren't interested in it, but, man, it was fun saying, come on in. This is awesome. Danny, it's times 100 for me when you say that about football. As a sports fan, I kind of said, this is cool. But I didn't really say, welcome to my living room. But when they love football, when people who don't even care about sports are flying to buy Chiefs gear, I mean, everywhere I go, downtown Kansas City, people who don't care about sports at all love the Chiefs, know everything that's going on, buying gear, and they act like they're the biggest fans in the world, need to be on the front row of the parade. And I go, isn't this so cool that they are falling in love with something that you and I do all the time, we're actually paid to talk about. It's our world, and they're loving it. There's nothing better than the NFL. And the champions of the NFL are here, Danny. This right here in our community. I can't even believe it. It's been so long since. How many people do you know who don't even care about sports love the NFL? And how about, I read an article today that was so encouraging to me. Kids want to play football. And there's nothing better with a good, safe coach, good heads-up mentality, and all the things we're doing. Not stupid practice, Danny. Flag football first. There's nothing better for boys than being involved in football. Nothing for the psychological development, for the teamwork and ups and downs, physical, mental, spiritual being coming together, needing to do it as a team. And now, guess what? Instead of saying, oh, this reason and that reason why we shouldn't, kids are begging their parents like, I want to play football. I mean, this is a win. I sound like Mitch Holtis after a K-State game back when he said big K-State win. So I am so excited to say welcome for those that didn't love football before. It is awesome, and it's great to have you.
Stan, it's always great to have you. We'll be back next college football season at the start. That was a great way to wrap things up.
Danny, it's been fun. So much fun as usual. I can't believe the only thing sad about the Super Bowl is the football season is over. And that's what's neat about this is I can't see any depression or negativity or anything like that. And that doesn't even mention the XFL, which I'm ready to get involved with, Danny. I can't wait. Bob Stoops is coaching the XFL. I'll be watching. But even without the XFL, I don't have that Monday after Super Bowl letdown like, there's no more football. Because so many people want to talk about it. The celebration continues on. And I'll propose, Danny, think about this. I know we're supposed to say goodbye, but people don't wear that much Chiefs gear around here. There's way more college gear worn around this town where you see everyone is going to be wearing Chiefs gear and the community feeling that's going to bring. And everyone wanting to say, what about this? What about that? We're going to be able to talk about football for the next few months without any embarrassment. It's just, hey, what do you think about football? What do you think about football? What do you think about football?
I'm pulling the plug. Stan Weber.
Danny doesn't want to talk about football anymore. See you next year.
I love talking
next,
about football.
What do you call that? Academic year, Danny?
Is,
I don't want to say goodbye. It's football. Come on, Danny.
Stan is giddy. Kansas City is giddy. And enjoy it, everybody. And guess what? Stan was the first person to violate my moratorium on looking to the future. So I guess you have permission to do so, too.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.